Yo, Tony D back with a mega review of Ordained. This is writer Robert Venditti, Trevor Hairsine doing the pencils, Dave Stewart doing the colors. You're going to see all three of these highlighted in this bad boy. Really heavy with Catholic ritual and theology, and especially the sacrament. We're going to get into that. We're going to experience it. The last rites and the tension between sin, confession, redemption are really the backbone of a crime story that we have right here. And it isn't just window dressing, the religious part of it. It literally is a moral battlefield where our father Craig here, his vows as a priest are going to collide with his past as a Navy SEAL. So the only way to do it is crack it open. Let's get to it. Bad idea. Bringing the heat, man. They're really doing a great job. So we start off, Father Craig. Very cinematic handlings. Totally dig it and love it. This is important. You're getting a sense of this character. And this is little detail. Think about this. 5:59, he's already up. Bed is made too. Very military. So you're getting hints of the military past. So is he up early? We don't know how long he's been up. Is his sleep disturbed by nightmares maybe? That's kind of what I was reading into. So we get the rundown. He's doing what a Catholic priest does. I love this paneling where you're just, and also the drop right there. That's a nice detail. So he gets a call, and what he does is he goes to the hospital and administers last rites, which is a big part of this story. It is literally the plot trigger. And he is, well liked in the neighborhood. You get details like that, which I think is important as well. He cares about who he is now and the people around him. And there'll be more of that as we go along. And this was very interesting to me. I have some ideas about it, but he's on the subway with the unwashed of the earth. And this guy's smoking, and you just know smoking coming from the priest. And homeboy flicks it. I'm done anyways. But I don't think it's just the cloth that has him in that state of fear. I think it's the aura. I think there's more to it than just seeing a priest. I think he has an aura. He has a presence where, yeah, he can lay the beat down, like, if it comes to it. And just that expression right there, he knew that was just bubbling up. He tells boy to pick it up. And there's a moment of kindness to contrast that. But as he's looking down, he's thinking about this. So there's a conflict going on with our priest. Having a heavy past in the military, it's obvious that stuff went down. And trying to absolve himself, being a priest, that's the vibe I get. So he talks, this is a very important conversation. This is where we're getting into the sacrament of last rites and the deeper meaning of it. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about as we get to the mob boss. And he meets this lady at the counter there. He invites her to the church. And she knows what this means, that this is last rites. So this is a common thing. So she's curious. And you run into this a lot in a religious setting where you as a human, you have questions, especially when you're close to the end. And she's elderly for a reason here, because these questions, let's face it, the closer you get, the more you're going to lean on that. Johnny Cash had a quote where everyone on death row has a Bible. Think about that. But as we move along, you get more hints of his Navy SEAL training. Just this little, I love the little word, grip. And it's a firm grip, but it's a very quick, he's reaching for a piece. So the mob boss, he's in there, and this is the Irish mob. It's your typical mob where there's collections, killing, and very dark stuff, as we all know. However, this guy really is. He's on his way out. He is in a bad way. And he does question the priest, like, you know, do you know who I am? He's like, no. Because he's not, that tells me he's not watching the news or paying attention to social media. He is a man of the cloth who's busy. Artwork is fantastic. The colors are fantastic as well. Look at the colors and muted. Look how the darkness creeps in on the soul that's fixing the Paris. That gives me the sense that that he's headed in the wrong way, that it's a very dark outcome, and he feels like he needs to absolve himself. You know, and the ritual, which includes confession, which will be the plot trigger, absolution, and the prayers for a soul's passage, is treated with gravity here. And it really highlights how people, like the mob boss's name is Cormac Byrne, they turn to God only at the end, seeking forgiveness after a lifetime of sin. And all of this right here, what you're getting to is, can a single confession truly absolve decades of violence, corruption, and murder? And this is where we get our plot trigger. He confesses to a murder of a high political figure. He's telling him something that could burn him down if he was going to live. And the theological discussion, it's great. You have to read it. That's what I mean. It's more than just window dressing. They go deep. And it's, I believe, the whole asking for forgiveness at the end, when you're faced with it, yeah, this is a very common, nobody wants to die. Let's face it, and just the mystery of what happens after, it gets very intertwined and deep. But this cat right here, he's like, yeah, man, he does not want to go to hell. Love the coloring. And he even gives them, here's another little detail of absolution, that he wants to turn people to the Lord. Like, you know, he's like, hey, if you know anyone else who'd like to talk, I'd be at the church. And then we are introduced to a character that will further the plot trigger and the tension, the paradox that the priest is really in with his duties. You know, you would literally have to get some information like that about somebody being murdered, and you are sworn by duty as a priest to keep that quiet, to preserve the sanctity of that ritual, that process. And this little old dude, he's like, he knows, he's like, yeah, forget it, because she's flashing the badge and the gun, so that just tells you we got talking to do. So really what she's doing, she knows that he talked. This character does not care about faith or religion. It's like, the man has done bad. I need to know what he told you. And religion doesn't trump the evils of man, is what she's getting to. And he won't do it. So, but he has a connection, and this is it. This is the plot trigger in full mode. He makes a miraculous recovery. And this is where this book is very brilliant, very unique to me and fresh, where, is it not a miracle? He was literally on death's door, and he was so much on that door where he had to absolve himself, but he makes this recovery, which is completely shocking. And he gets with his guys. Here's your cinematic feel, coloring, love the dark, the foreboding of it all. And his men come in to talk to him, and he's like, yeah, I want you to start collecting. He's back in the full mode. That confession meant nothing. It was just him thinking that could absolve him just by saying the words. So Byrne he used it as a loophole, you know, the promise of forgiveness and comfort, and literally exploiting it. I mean, is the church's promise of forgiveness a comfort or a loophole exploited by sinners? And this is on full display. And then you just get to this panel, boom. Yeah, just totally not, you have to feel it in your heart. And that is a very deep thing with forgiveness. And these two guys, they don't even care, man. So they're going to go to the church and do what they got to do. So the Irish mob is back in full effect. So they go to the church and it's just, hey man, like it's just business, that type of deal. And a guy walks in, one of his flock, and I mean, they wound the guy, and he is just, he's got to help this guy. He'll do whatever he can do to help him. He offers himself up. The tension here is so great in the narration and the art and the color. It's like, it's at a crescendo of, he's got to help this guy, but now he's got to find that Navy SEAL in him and to help this guy. He's got to, not to help himself, but to help this soul right here. He's got to reach down and bring back that Navy SEAL, which is violence, and it comes back crazy. Like, he literally uses the books to get him off guard. It's a great fight. And this is where the paneling and the color get extremely entertaining, where you get the close-ups of the, the red of the action. Like, this really highlights what a badass this dude really is. I mean, it's just like, it's coming back. And it is gritty. Like, it's like a fight where there's some disorganization to it, where it's very organic, and it's not like a superhero type thing. Like, I punch you, you punch me back. It has a different tone to it, which makes this even better. And he gets wounded, so he's not untouched. And then the detail of just handling a gun like that. Okay, we know this guy is trained. You just can't help but just stop and like take it in. And even the facial expressions, great work by the artist. Love this coloring though. Can't say enough about coloring. It's usually the unsung hero of some books. It really matters. So yeah, he's just taking them out. So really, this battle scene, it's a great battle scene for sure. And him just standing over, what has occurred. And I believe his flock member has passed away. I believe that's him right there. But you get back to the mob boss, who he finds out about this. So now he's putting the bounty out, and this is where, man, this could turn into like a chase. This can be, this is going to be so great of a ride. You can just feel it. Of course, he wants him dead, so we end on that note. And from our research, this thing sold out before release. It's very interesting. It's even went into the second printing will come out. I think it'll go higher than 2 second printings. We'll see. But it's a very powerful debut that blends crime, faith, and action into a unique narrative. Venditti crafts a morally complex protagonist, while Hairsine and Stewart deliver visuals that heighten both the sacred and the violent. It's a book that asks whether redemption is possible in a world ruled by sin and bloodshed. And whether a man of God can survive when his past as a soldier comes roaring back.